Yo guys, it's Mike from Just Lifestyle, and yeah, sorry for not being able to stream yesterday. Yeah, I just had way too much on my plate to make the stream happen. Um, yeah, for today, we are actually going to be reviewing a couple games, and these games were the games from the infamous high school match that I competed in between former students and current students. And basically, I'm going to wait until Lucas hopefully shows up to the stream, and then we can analyze the games together. But basically, this match, you can see here, just click play. This was during the match had started. I just did a little bit of filming, but we have the alumni on my side of the camera, and then the current students on the other side, and it was a super tight match, pretty much. Yeah, basically, I thought it would be like a complete landslide for the alumni side, because on paper we were definitely the stronger team, but they actually put up a really good fight, and they managed to win. Well, the first, sorry, but they didn't, they didn't win, but the first round, so it was 2 rounds of 15 minutes plus 10 seconds to move. The first round, they managed to score 2.5, and we scored 2.5, so it was a tie. And then it all came down to the second round, and me and Lucas ended up being the last ones playing. And yeah, the match was tied 4.5, 4.5. So it basically all came down to our final match, and I managed to grind them out and win. So that meant the alumni took the final score, as you can see here. um, yeah, so I managed to get the 2 wins against Lucas, which was pretty clutch in the end, and we managed to win just by 1 result. So yeah, really close match, and yeah, it was a lot of fun actually. And I saw yesterday actually that Lucas added me to a study, and this study, I guess this is just some alt account. I mean, I think he's got like 100 alt accounts. I don't know how he has so many like email accounts. Like, I thought that I had a lot of alt accounts, but I think Lucas has even more. But yeah, he shared with me his preparation for the game, and he also like tried to memorize like some of the game, and I also did as well. So I think I got a bit further than him, but yeah, we're gonna take a look at these when he comes. Hopefully, that he comes. But yeah, I'm very curious to see what Lucas had prepared against me. So to give you an idea of what my headspace was at for the game, basically on the train down, so I was heading down back home, and yeah, on the train down for the match, I was thinking like, um, what should I play basically? Because I mean, Lucas has been watching my streams for like 2 months, and he knows literally everything that I play. So I can't like, prepare something spicy. I mean, definitely I do have like a pretty vast repertoire, and I have tried multiple things in the past. So you can see that there was some preparation for different openings I could have tried. But yeah, like I kind of decided that, okay, if he plays d4, I'll just play Benoni because I know it best. If he plays e4, I will actually play the modern. I was considering maybe playing a Caro-Kann, I wasn't sure. And then I also thought if I have the white pieces, I will decide in the moment where I'm going to play 1c3 or the Reti. And actually, as the train journey went on, I realized that actually, no, I do want to play 1c3, because we did have one game online where we had 1c3, and I decided to prep that line just in case he were to try it again. And in the actual game, I played 1c3 and he didn't. He prepped something different. Yo, Josh, what's up? So yeah, I'm very curious to see what he had prepared. So what I was expecting with this c3 repertoire. So this is what was played in the game. So I guess Lucas's prep was pretty good. But what I was expecting maybe we would get was this old line with e6 here, and this is what Lucas played against me before. And he played this early queen c7. Ah, no, sorry, he played it with knight d7. And I prepared this line a little bit and found this like really interesting play with like an eventual c4, and I felt like it was almost working out in my favor in a lot of these lines. But in the end, okay, he prepared something different, and I did play queen b3, even though, yeah, after the game, Lucas said that he was expecting me to play something different like queen c2. But we just kept this endgame, so Lucas was in prep here. I actually played e3 here. I didn't play knight f3. So I played e3 here, and yeah, we got this endgame position. And I mean, like, yeah, objectively speaking, it's dead equal, but I felt like there's still some imbalances, and it just leads to an interesting position. And I'll show you what happened in the game. Yo, Shay, what's up? So yeah, just for some context, guys. Basically, yesterday I played Lucas, who joins a lot of the streams, and we played this alumni against current students match. I'll just show a quick video here, and yeah, I managed to take the W for the team in the final game of the match. So this was very nice. But yeah, we went back to my old school and we had this match, and yeah, it was cool. So yeah, interesting to see that Lucas had prepped up to move 6, but then I deviated with e3. And I didn't play with knight f3, I brought my knight to e2 instead, which I felt was better because I had this like reroute to d3, which I found quite useful. But yeah, curious to see how far Lucas prepped my Benoni as well, because yeah, we got this in the game. This was because we played 2 colors, right? So this was actually exactly prep, and here I deviated. So I played queen e7 instead, and rather than play this the main line with rook e8, I decided to play queen e7 with this knight e8 knight c7 idea, which is like probably objectively a bit dodgy, but I wanted to chance it, and I remembered that online I think I have played these ideas, but always with a6. And I don't know why I play with a6, because every time I would get like smashed on the queen side with some maneuver like this. It was 15 minutes plus 10 seconds of move. So we played two sides, one side with white, one side with black. So yeah, I'm just currently looking at Lucas's prep against me, because he shared the study with me after our match. But yeah, it looks like he just prepped this main line. I wasn't sure if he would have prepped my knight e8 knight c7 idea, and I was a bit worried. But I was like, it's worth chancing it because it's a very Benoni style position. Like, there's a lot of opportunity to outplay the opponent. And also, I decided not to play with a6, right? So I felt like this would be like a better scenario. Because yeah, like every time I play this system with the knight on c7 and with the pawn a6 with this like knight Tor variation with knight coming to c4, I always get wrecked by like this kind of like maneuver on the queen side. And yeah, I was just like, I'm not going to push the a-pawn. So yeah, curious again to see that Lucas's prep didn't reference my maneuver, which I have played online, like some games at least. Just to very quickly look, okay, he also had a look at modern. What would we have played? Okay, damn, we would have just gone straight into this. Wow. Oh my god, there's knight takes d5? What the hell is that? What the hell is knight takes d5? Please don't say that's actually a move. Oh my god. Oh, because of this, right? I have blundered this in the past. So I need to be very careful here. Yeah, so in this position, I would need to play knight e6 and make sure that I'm not blundering this piece. Yeah, that's interesting. Why then at this moment you can't? Oh, of course you can't, because the knight can take. No, you can't, because then you blunder the queen. So why can't you do this now? Oh, the queen can take, obviously. So the bishop is a little trap. Oh, that's a very nice little trick. That's a very nice little trick from Lucas. So yeah, I hope I wouldn't have just automatically played knight f5 here and maybe played knight e6 first. Okay, that's good to know. There's a slight nuance here, and I should always be careful of this trick if the queen can't take. Yeah, it's a cool line. It's a cool line. And then finally, he prepped my Reti as well, I think. He would have gone into a reverse Benoni. Interesting. Maybe I would have. Oh, but he plays this kind of Benoni. Right. I would never enter this in a million years, so I'm not sure why Lucas was prepping this kind of shenanigans. What would I have done actually in this kind of position? If you played knight c6, that's a very annoying move. Knight c6. Yeah. Knight c3, I guess. Queen f3, sure. And I'd probably just chill out and play like bishop e2 and then I'd be lost, am I? That's crazy. Bishop e2 is like a losing move. This is so bad. Yeah, and if queen g3. Oh, Lucas actually prepped this. Holy crap. Lucas actually prepped this. If I played Reti, I was in trouble. I was screwed. This is the motif in some Sicilian lines, just knight takes d5. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Right, yeah, no, I've never. I mean, I've fallen for it once in my modern games actually online, but yeah, I need to remind myself of it more often. But yeah, glad I didn't play Reti. Holy crap, this would have been brutal. I actually don't know what to do against this move. Yeah, this knight c6 is very annoying. So what am I supposed to do? I just have to play bishop b2 here. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, to be fair. Like, normally this bishop b2 kind of move isn't possible because the pawn's still on b2, and also if you don't take the knight, this is just like super annoying. But yeah, since the pawn is like on e6, then you can play bishop b2, and this looks alright. And okay, if they play c5, I'm very happy. This is like dream Benoni. I don't give a crap what the engine says, so this is just very, very pleasant. Yeah, maybe I need to be careful of this very quick idea. But okay, that's good to know. If this ever comes up over the board and I happen to have played a Reti, then I want to be playing bishop b2 and then take the knight if they play c5. Yeah, good to see. Good to see. So, I have no idea where Lucas is. I don't know how to message him either. I don't think I've got... maybe I'll message his Lichess, just in case. You're on stream, analyzing your game. Our games, I should say. Yeah, I don't have Lucas's contact except for YouTube. So, yeah, I don't know. I think let's just get into it. So, yeah, basically, I had 2 games with Lucas. Yeah, this was the first game. I had the black pieces. And he played d4. I actually had no idea what he played with the white pieces. I just knew that we had one game where I played 1c3, and he played a very, very good game, and I managed to win it in a time scramble online. But I felt like, yeah, it was very strong as a player. So we get this Benoni. I have no idea what he's prepared. I'm just thinking like, oh my god, has he prepped like some move 40 like refutation or something? And he plays the knight's tour, so I'm like, okay, I have experimented with lines with this knight a6, knight c7 business, but I haven't. But I don't know. I just felt like I was actually feeling quite groggy. I think I'm a little bit sick right now, to be honest, and I just felt that I need to play something that I've had a bit more experience in. So I just put the knight on d7. This is all like mainline theory, right? And the idea here is that black plays rook e8. Somehow there's some a4, a6. And basically white will play some like slow improving move like queen c2. And black puts the knight on e5. And the idea is that if white tries to challenge this knight immediately, it gets super, super sharp because the knight comes in here. And it looks like this is like big trouble. But somehow, I think like you take on e4 or something. Okay, no, here is just lost. Wait, I don't remember. I think on knight c4, maybe, yeah, you take on e4. Like there's some like big like tactical complications. All works out for black, and this is really good. So this is why like the line was very popular, and this was the main line. But the problem is that white can always play h3, and now f4 is a threat. So then you need to play g5 to stop f4, and the theory continues. Like it's really deep, it's really nuanced, it's really tricky, and white is very easily giving up the full advantage in one move. But the problem is there are just so many different ways that white can play it, and there's even like these super annoying lines, like in this position, after queen c2, knight e5, in this position, rather than play h3, which allows g5, knight b1 is even a move here. And this is like some Grandmaster preparation, where the idea is that you stop the g5 push, you then want to play h3 and f4, and if you play h6, like white just memorizes a bunch of theory, because now, like, for some reason we can't play g5 as well because it's like some f4 anyway, and somehow it works out. Like, I don't really know. And to be honest, I'm not interested in understanding this. So I think this queen e7 is extremely practical, because what I'm aiming to do is put the knight on c7 and play for this kind of b5 push. This is the plan. And basically, yeah, like, yeah, I could tell, like, Lucas was in prep, and then suddenly he wasn't in prep, right, after this queen e7. And I don't think I've even played this online. Like, I think I've played, like, some knight e8 immediately, a6 immediately, rook e8, of course. But queen e7 was kind of like a, in the spur of the moment, move. And actually, is it popular at all? Is anyone playing this queen e7? I'm very curious to see. Nice. Queen e7 1% of the time. I think it's super legit. Almost a novelty. 7 games. Love to see it. Okay, so queen e7. And yeah, basically a4 was played. I do my plan of knight e8. And yeah, I don't play a6. I think he was expecting me to play a6 because typically a4 and a6 are generally played in a Benoni. But I don't want to weaken my b6 square. And given that the knight is already coming to c4, I don't want to weaken it. So played knight e8. Yeah, wow, queen c2 gives up the whole advantage immediately. It's crazy. Yeah, so I played knight c7. And apparently knight c4 is keeping it an edge. But to me, I don't really see it, right? Like, I can always play knight e5, and I don't believe this plus 0.7. Like, this is just Benoni, and I don't believe it's... I'm completely comfortable. So a6 was played, and again, yeah, like, Engine was screaming to play this f5 move. Really not my style to weaken the king unnecessarily, so I just improved my pieces. And I was constantly working out whether, like, this push was ever good, but I never... Yeah, I never fancied this, actually. I always felt that this was always weak, and white can always plant a knight on b5. And if we ever get this structure and we don't get to play b5, then we're in big trouble. So I was always, like, wondering whether I can play b5, but I couldn't. So I played knight e5 instead, and I thought for sure Lucas would play knight e3, and I think this was his first mistake of the game, really. Because knight e3 feels very natural, and then I need to decide, what am I doing? Am I going to play with f5? Am I going to play g5, which feels a bit risky, although my bishop is covering the square? Because, you know, f4 might be coming, right? But he didn't play knight e3, and he just played knight takes e5. And as soon as he played this, I was very, very happy, because strategically speaking, in a Benoni, we've traded 1 minor piece, and now things are going to flow much more nicely. So I considered queen d4 here, and okay, I saw Engine pop up as a move, but it's just unnecessary risk, right? My queen might get harassed, it might even get trapped. I don't want to take such a risk. So I just dropped the queen back to e7, and I just played rook b8 here, I think. Just keeping my options to play b5. And I don't exactly remember the move order here. I think it was something like this. And yeah, I came up with this plan of knight a6 to b4, which I was quite happy with. And Lucas pretty much took this in an instant. And what I found was that this knight takes e5 was a mistake, I feel like. And this bishop takes a6 was also a mistake. And these were like played like almost instantly. Welcome Arjun to the stream. We're reviewing my game against Lucas. I was hoping he would be on the stream, but unfortunately he's not. But yeah, I recaptured, and I was very, very happy now, because it's almost like I've got Benko compensation. I got full control of these potential entry points, right? Like, if I don't have the a7 pawn, then maybe there's this. If I don't have the a6 pawn, maybe he can challenge for the b5 square. But now I've got full control of this. I have an open b file, and I can even plant a bishop on b5. And I just felt super good about this. And I think, like, around here, I gave this check. And this was the final big blunder. And again, I think it's just these, like, instincts. Maybe it's like playing too much bullet chess. I don't even know if Lucas plays too much bullet, but this would be my guess. Because he played bishop e3 here, really fast. And of course, this is just a terrible blunder, because I can just win this pawn. And then it's just completely over, right? And still in this position, I was thinking he would play king h1, but I was already looking at this idea of f5. I think it looks really interesting. But even without f5, I felt like I just have a very pleasant position, right? I've got the bishop pair. My bishops are situated very nicely. I consider even bringing the queen in this way. This f5 push, as Engine recommends, like lots of ways to progress this position. And yeah, I just felt very, very good. But when he played bishop e3, I was like, okay, am I missing something? I'm feeling a bit groggy. I hope I haven't missed something. And basically, yeah, like queen e4. And then he played queen f2. And I basically just grabbed this upper pawn because why not? And yeah, I managed to just grind out this position, trade all the pieces, and win pretty comfortably, actually. And I also got this bishop versus knight endgame, and my bishop completely corralled Lucas's knight, and I managed to win. So this was very nice. So I think actually this queen e7 is something I'm going to look into more. I'm going to make a note of this actually. Because I have like a Benoni course on my Patreon, and I think like this queen e7 could be a really simple solution. So I think to this Knight's Tour variation, I'm gonna do some analysis here, because I don't think learning the main lines are worth it at all. I think it's way too difficult, way too complicated, way too theory heavy, right? And the worst thing is like the white d4 players, some of them actually know the theory, right? This is like the problem. So that was the first game. And then the second game, which was extremely clutch, I decided to play c3. He plays d5. And he plays this real fast, and then he plays queen b6 instantly. I was like, oh dear. Like, this is some, like, preparation. But I stuck to my guns, I stuck to my theory, played queen b3. And the point is that actually, if black were to start with knight f6, and we get this position with queen b6, this is where I actually don't play queen b3. Because this is actually a problem, this line, where I get these double pawns. Because knight c6 comes really fast, and it's not so easy to play this position. I defend here, and I want to defend with king d2, but then I get hit with knight e4. And this comes really, really fast. So that is why on knight f6, I recommend this move knight d2. And I call this in my course c5 fireworks, because it really is just complete fireworks. Like, black can take on b2, but it's almost losing very, very quickly. And rook c1 was the move, of course, and then bishop e3. And this position is like really close to being lights out due to the fact that there's this pressure on c8. So like even this queen d6 can be met with e5, and this is already in trouble, and black already has to sack the queen. So there are all kinds of interesting lines with this knight d2 move, which I provide in my chessable course, which hopefully will come out in like a month. But yeah, when black plays with d5, then we can follow the rule of meeting queen b6 with queen b3. And I don't really mind this imbalance. Like, for sure, it's not ideal to have these isolated pawns, but it's not so bad as well. Like, I have the open a file, it creates an imbalance, and it means like I can always just sit my pieces on these squares, and I don't have to worry about, let's say, them ever taking, right? Because I can always undouble, right? So I don't mind these double pawns, actually. And the game went as follows. So as we looked at Lucas's prep, he was out of book at this e3. And then I just kind of developed my pieces, right? I put my king on d2 where I felt it was useful. Yeah, and I always had to be very careful of this idea of black ever playing knight a5 to come here. And this came up a bit later, right? Because, okay, I played f3 to stop this knight ever coming in. But with this bishop here, I had to be careful of this move. And I played h4 here, so I'm threatening this g4, h5. And yeah, you can see on knight a5, I can always sack and then play g4, h5. So I was always in time here. But actually, did I... Yeah, and then the point is on knight e2. Now I have to move knight c1, if needed. So I had to be very careful with not blundering a pawn or something like this. But everything was somehow harmonious. And I really liked this knight c1, knight e2, knight c1 maneuver, because I was basically playing to develop the knight this way. And yeah, it was a very cagey kind of position. I traded for bishops because I felt that these pawns, generally his bishop should be slightly better. And then Yeah, he traded and created an imbalance. So at this moment, I was very, very happy because now I'm playing bishop against knight, and you never know, maybe I can grind this out somehow. So I feel like g6 was a bit of a slow move. I was actually hoping to provoke black to come this way, in which I would play on the king side. But he played a6, which I think is a very sensible move. And actually, yeah, if black makes some other move like this, knight b5 is actually extremely strong. I didn't really see it in the game, but this is actually a tactic working out because there's just overloaded pieces, so something is going to drop. So he played a6, which was a good move. And then I played the move g4. Rook c8, I think, was played. And I then removed my knight because I wanted to double on the c file. And again, you can see the power of having these doubled pawns. It means I can always recapture if needed. So here, I considered playing rook c1 and just trying to double first, but I just felt it might be too drawish. And I felt like I needed to keep the bishops on. And at this moment, I think here, Lucas offered me a draw. And at this point, the team match wasn't like confirmed, but I wanted to play this on. I played bishop b1. He took my rook. I took back with the knight, of course. He played rook c8. And here I played knight d3 because I wanted to get this imbalance of bishop versus knight. And again, Lucas just went with the trade. And I think if Lucas kept the pieces on, you know, this bishop's not doing so much, right? When it's all limited like this. But after the trade, suddenly my bishop gets some activity. So I think, you know, if Lucas just improved his like ability to make correct exchanges, I think he would like, you know, improve a lot, basically. And here he played like a weird move. I think he wanted to try and reroute his knight to a better square. But then I found this really nice plan. I played rook a5, and I was hoping that he'd play knight c5 because then I could play knight c6. Sorry, then I could play rook c5, and now take the c file. And here, it's already getting a bit tricky. And I played the move b4, and it was around here. I remember he played rook c6. And I can't remember what I played because I remember I played one idea of playing for bishop c2, bishop a4. But I also played e4 around here as well. And it started to get really messy. But always it kind of felt like it was in my favor. And at some point, Lucas just was like down on the clock, wanted to resolve the pressure, and just took my rook on c5, which quite frankly is a terrible move. Because, yeah, I've got this weakness, which is just going to be a bigger and bigger weakness in the endgame. And he just undoubles the pawns for me. So I don't remember what exactly happened. It was something like this, but I don't remember. But he basically allowed me to undouble my pawns, keep the bishop. I improved all of these pawns. I made this break eventually as well. I think actually it was around here. Like, maybe this was the position. I played d5. This might actually be the game. I played like some d5 here. So yeah, it was something like this. But it was hard, right? Like in this position, it's not so clear like where the king belongs. Like if king c6, I was gonna play bishop a4, like where to go, and then now I was getting this passed pawn. So you see, as soon as the pawn structure improves, suddenly I'm doing all right. So yeah, basically, I managed to grind this position out. It took many moves. And I had to do lots of maneuvering, but it was really a dream. It was just a beautiful position to be able to grind. Yeah, I got the win. So yeah, I was very happy to get this win. And yeah, just so you guys can see, I had. Do I still have it here? No. Did I get rid of it? Basically, I had a school match back in the day, and I remember. So this was literally me representing my school. And I got reminded of this because basically, you know, when I was in school, I had a match against a rival school, and it was just like yesterday where the match was tied. I was the last board to finish, and basically the result weighed on my shoulders. Like if I won, I would win. If I draw, the team would draw. If I lost, I would lose. And this was, if you can see, actually, I know it's being filmed on a potato, but this was the king, this was the queen, and this was the enemy king, and they're about to promote. So the solution nowadays is very obvious to me, right? I just play queen h6, king g8, the king blocks the pawn, and then just king f6, and then I mate. And this is the technique, right? You want to push the king in front of their own pawn, and if it's a knight's pawn or a central pawn, then you win. So this, I could play this with like 0.1 of a second on the clock now, but back then it wasn't so clear to me. I didn't have as much experience, and I completely fluffed it up. And against this rival school, I ended up drawing, and this was a real shame. Because yeah, and also at the time, there was no increment on the clock, so I literally was down to 2 seconds, and then what made sure that I didn't lose, right? Because if I lost on time with the queen against the pawn, I would still lose, right? So I felt like it was a nice redemption arc, like having all that pressure, everyone watching, but this time I felt very, very calm, very composed, and just grinded out the position, made sure I was never getting too low on time, and yeah, the team won. 5.5 to 4.5. So this was the match. I was very, very happy. What do you play against d4 sidelines? d4 knight f6, any move not c4. Aha. I can very quickly show this actually. But yeah, sidelines of Benoni. I mean, if you really want to beat a Benoni player, probably pick a sideline, because the fact that Benoni players playing the Benoni it means they have faith in the Benoni, and to play someone who has faith in the Benoni, you're asking for trouble, right? So for me, on knight f3, of course, I play c5. And here you've got some different options. Like if they take, we can just take back. If they play c4, we can just take on d4. And actually here there's many options. So this line is not so viable for white, because there's the Kasparov gambit with e5, which is really fun. And it's a gambit because we can't take back because of this and knight c7 fork. So basically here you just play bishop c5, and the position is okay. Engine will claim some small plus, but practically speaking, very, very good results for black. There's also the hedgehog here, which with b6, which I really, really like as well, where you set up like this and put your pieces like so. And yeah, basically, if they play d5, then we just get into Benoni, right? There's not much difference here, except for the fact that they can play knight c3. And I would recommend the easiest thing to do as a Benoni player is you just take everything, play knight c6 always, and then you look and wait to see what happens. So very generally, you're going to be playing bishop e7 and castles, and eventually you're going to be pushing for d5. But there are some exceptions, like if they play bishop f4, then they've got extra control over d6, and it's quite important that you play d6 here, and prevent white from getting that grip. And it looks like maybe we've got some problems here, but I think we can play, was it knight b4 as the move, or bishop e6? Yeah, I need to, I would have a think in the game and try and recall what was happening there. Sometimes you need to play knight b4 first, sometimes bishop e6. And this line is a bit tricky for black because it can very quickly go wrong. But you can also use a lot of logic to guide in this position. And here, yeah, we're just... I recommend just playing d5. Like, this is good enough. I mean, if they play some knight g5, it's fine. Like, we can always just get this in balance and it's okay for black. Ooh, finally! Welcome, Melora. Welcome to the stream. How's it going? Long time no see. But yeah, this is another sideline which I would consider. Then you've also got when they play with like e3, and here the very nice thing is that this is actually a reverse reti, and if they play such a passive move, we can always play b6. Okay, they can then transpose into a Benoni, and then okay, then you got to be a bit careful, and this gets a little bit tricky again. If you don't want to play b6 immediately, you can also, I think, play with g6 here, and this is also fine, and only play with b6 later, and just be a bit more flexible with your reti setup. But the very nice thing with Benoni is that you don't really have to deal with many sidelines. Like, you basically get to play this Benoni structure, which is very unique. And the only time I would probably not recommend to play c5 is against this Jobava. And this is where I have a really nice remedy to it. Which is basically to play my c3 London, but c3 Venom, but reversed. So it's cool. Melora, nice to see you again. I have been streaming a fair amount actually. Still, like I had a break when I was working on my chessboard course in Liverpool, and then I got back to it for like a week. I missed yesterday's stream. Okay, all my stuff. You're on a break from chess? All stuff I learned from a few months need to settle. I'll be back when I feel ready. Nice. Honestly, it's definitely a thing. Like, you know, often when you're putting a lot of effort into chess, you actually won't see much results. But once you actually take a break from the training and it all settles in your head, and like, your brain starts to like process everything in a more fluid way, then you start to get the results. And I've noticed this with many students. I've noticed this with myself. So it's probably not a bad idea, Melora. What is your opening rep against English and Reti? Very good question, Arjun. Do you have an answer? Because I don't really, to be honest, right now. Like, Reti and English are quite annoying. I've had many different ideas in the past of how to face it. I have a new idea, actually, which I've done some work on, which I'm not going to reveal on stream since it's purely confidential and no one in the world knows about it, except Nicola, my coach. Well, former coach, or maybe current coach, I don't know. We're just friends. But yeah, I do have some stuff I'm cooking. But Reti in English is very, very difficult to find something good against it, because there are just so many ways to play it, right? They can play it with g3 c4, they can play it with e3 b3. Very annoying opening. They can even play it with like King's Indian style, right? So it's very tricky. Yeah, if you do that for a few years, every time I come back, plus 200, absolutely. My approach is a Dutch-like setup. That's also a very, very good solution, Arjun, because, yeah, if you choose, like, your own niche system against this niche system, then you're gonna, like, define the play on the board, right? But still, to play with f5, then it kind of dictates a certain style of game. That means you need to attack, and this is also not so easy as well. Yeah, Melora, things have been good. You can see, like, I'm on the climb. Like, if this is going to load. Yeah, I recently got 2459, which is joint peak rating for Blitz. And yeah, I hit 2500s in Bullets and Rapid. So yeah, like my chess is going well, and I think just in general, like, I think my play is going very fluid. I also reached 74 in the puzzle streak, which was very satisfying to complete my pretty Lee chess profile. So yeah, life is good. Chess is good. But the aspect of chess that isn't good right now is my Chessable course. Like, do you see all of these notifications? Like, I swear to God, there are so many that I need to attend to. I work on, like, I do 50 in the morning, and then by the evening I have another 50 to do. And it's rough, like doing all these edits myself, but I've just got to keep grinding. My deadline is on Monday. I complete this, and then we move on to the stage of filming, and yeah, the ball keeps rolling. So I really hope this all goes well, and yeah, credit to my beta testers for like helping me with this, because their attention to detail is immaculate, and I can't thank them enough, because it really makes the course much more professional. Like the grammar, the punctuation, the formatting, everything. It's like really becoming a super complete course. So no, the course is not published yet. It's going to be published in April. Oh, I saw Robert Riz recommend an early F5 versus English. Interesting. Is that like on Chessable, actually? I'd be very curious about that, actually, Josh. So if you send me some details about that, I would be interested. Not that I'm playing a Dutch against Reti, or am I? But anyway, guys, 30 seconds left of the stream, and honestly, I think I'm actually a bit sick. I think, like, all the traveling recently, and yeah, I think I've caught a cold or something. I think I'm just gonna take it chill. So unfortunately, Lucas wasn't able to join for this stream, but hopefully he'll enjoy watching the replay of it. And yeah, it was a very exciting match. The team won 5.5, 4.5, and I'm very proud of my alumni team for making that happen. So I also looked into this Adivan Gambit, but the problem is it's very specific to a specific English line, right? Like, only if the English player sets up in a specific way, then you can do this Gambit. And for me, it's too much to learn, right? I don't want to learn like all this theory for one niche line that's going to come up 1 in 100 games or less. So basically, for playing against the Reti in English, ideally I want to find a setup that I can do against both, and that's not so easy to prepare and find. But there are ways. There are really ways. And for instance, if you play a Slav or semi-Slav, then like English and Reti is really no problem, because you know you can always if this is gonna load. You can always meet like c4 with c6, and always play with d5. But the only problem here is that you need to be prepared for any transpositions to d4, and if you don't play this with black, then you might be in a bit of trouble. But to be fair, like, I do know some basics in Slav, and maybe I could prepare something here actually. So maybe it's something to consider because it's kind of similar to my my C3 Venom, right? But at the same time, I also then need to be prepared for if my opponent plays the exchange Slav, and I'm really comfortable with it now from the white side, but from the black side, maybe not so much. So I need to look into all this and see if I can make it work. But maybe this is also the solution, right? Like this this Slav setup, because it's very nice. You can play against English, and you can also play against the Reti, right? You can start with d5, and then whichever way they play, like c4, c6, g3, c6, you can always play this Slav setup. So it might be worth like delving into. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna call it a day. But appreciate all of the support as always, and yeah, I hope you found the game analysis interesting. And yeah, I guess see you tomorrow for another stream. And probably there's gonna be a video uploaded regarding my match with Langton, so that'll be hopefully coming out in the coming days. So on that note, guys, I'm gonna head off and see you guys around. Bye.